At the time of recording this, the most recent video that has been uploaded to my channel is called Description of the Story That I Am Writing. The story I'm writing is called The Long Road from Moscow. If you want to know kind of what the plot is, or, well, hear the description of it, I suggest you watch that video first. I thought that maybe I should read it, because surprisingly, I know that whenever people say, oh, I got a whole lot of views, they usually talk about, I don't know, millions, stuff kind of like that. But for me, around 20 something is what it is currently, and that's enough for me to just kind of think, why not? Maybe I should read it just so people can kind of get an idea of what it is. Anyway, The Long Road from Moscow contains what I like to call scenes of imagery-based violence. So basically, you just kind of have to imagine most scenes. It also contains cursing, swearing, language, whatever you want to call it. Oh yeah, and how could I ever forget? The story's called The Long Road from Moscow. Some of this is spoken in Russian, and I don't speak Russian. I just looked up English to Russian translation on Google and just threw in a phrase that I found on Google into my story so I could, I don't know, just make it seem a tad bit more realistic, I guess. Because I don't think you guys are going to call Russians speaking English while in Russia realistic. Then again, most of this is spoken in English. Because, well, like I said, I don't speak Russian. And, yeah. I think I should just shut up now and, read all of you what I currently have. The Long Road from Moscow. Chapter 1. Operation Frostbite. If they tried to make us suffer, they did a shit job. That is the phrase Mikhail said to himself as he pushed through the snow that was up to his calves. Mikhail had pushed through a frozen hell for almost 2 months. If I had stayed in that damn city, I would have been warm, fed, and a slave, he muttered to himself. Make me suffer more. I can take it. Mikhail had been no older than 12 when those soldiers took over Moscow. Ever since he breached the border that the army had set up, he was being hunted. Send your dogs, send your planes, send every last damn soldier you have, Mikhail said to himself. I'll kill them all. Mikhail, Konir said. Mikhail, you good? Huh? Yes, I'm fine, Mikhail said, looking back at the other 5 who broke out with him. Konir, Khalil, Benjamir, Yaroslav, and Nikolai. Those are their names. Halt, Mikhail said, raising his right fist to signal the group to stop. Khalil, Mikhail whispered. Up here. Bring the rifle. I see something. Khalil walked up to Mikhail and pulled the SVT sniper rifle from his bag and set it up on a mound of snow so he could hold still. Defensive positions, Konir whispered to the rest of the squad, to which everyone obeyed. What do you see? Mikhail had whispered to Khalil. Army Morosa, Khalil responded with, which meant Army of Frost. The silence was a deadly one, but was occasionally cut by the faint wind blowing, picking up snow and tossing around the frozen hell that was a Russian winter. How many are there? Mikhail asked, wondering how big of a platoon they would have to deal with. 1, 2, 4, 5, 8, Khalil whispered to himself. 8 at least, could be more behind cover. On me, Mikhail said to the squad, to which everyone followed his lead and fell in line behind him. Konir, Yaroslav, Nikolai, you 3 get behind the abandoned truck. Benjamir, Khalil, you're with me. Is that clear? That's here, was the rest of the squad's response. Move out. Mikhail's squad moved up to a large snow pile and set themselves up ready for combat. Mikhail to Connor, Mikhail said over the radio. Go near here. What is it? Do you see that officer with the blue patch and white beret? Yes, why? When Korea takes them out, you and your squad open fire on them. We'll do the same. That's here. Mikhail got him, Menjmir, and Kirill set up ready for combat. Kirill raised up his SVT-40 and aimed it right at the officer. Ito darmina, irubakdea, Kirill said before pulling the trigger, which meant, this is for me, you bastard. And Kirill pulled the trigger and sent the bullet from the gun flying through the air and landing right into the officer's brain. Ito satura, estero, vilestero, Moskvas, istukovine, Mikhail said and shouted as he began to open fire on the army of Frost, which what he said was, this is for Moscow, you sons of bitches. Mikhail was full of hate for the enemy, and he was reasonably mad too, due to everything they did. Alas, people should know what happened before this moment.